All right. So again, we are back, and now we are actually live on Microsoft Reactor as well as here. So again, I would like to welcome you all for this meetup and spending your Friday weekend night here with us. So yeah, I'm also here. You guys are here. Thank you very much. My name is Ritesh. As I said, I run many meetups here in Singapore, and this is one of the meetup that I'm the organizer. It's Azure Community Service and .NET Foundation. Again, we are the two organizers who manage this mainly. It's me, Ritesh, and Dilip, whom you met downstairs, who was registering your name. We both are Microsoft MVP. Dilip is Microsoft MVP for .NET, and I'm Microsoft MVP for Azure. Huge thanks to Microsoft for today's sponsorship. So, food and beverages and the venue is uh, is sponsored by Microsoft, and I would like to call out two special names from Microsoft who have been very pivotal in helping us, organizing these events. I would like to thank Vincent, who is there helping us with this, and Susan, who is behind the scene, managing the reactor for us and making it available to thousands of attendees online. So thank you guys, thank you very much, and thank you to Microsoft. So today we have two good lineup. One, we have Lahiru Ratnanayaka. He would be talking about integrating Azure OpenAI services with Microsoft Teams. And we have Eng Tiong Chia, ET. He is also Microsoft MVP for .NET. And he would be talking about getting started with .NET MAUI. Yep. If you guys are not connected to Wi-Fi, you need Wi-Fi. The SSD is MSFT guest. Once you connect, it will open up a browser. In the browser, select attendee event code. Event attendee code, sorry, not event attendee. Attendee event code. All a small letter, there is a hyphen in between. .NET hyphen community. And if you want, it is also written on the board over there. So any of you who want to become a speaker, quickly scan the QR code, submit your talks, and we will reach out to you for our upcoming meetups. I'll flash this for another 10 seconds. All right. So now I would like to call Lahiru on the stage, and I would like, welcome him. Give a round of applause for Lahiru. We will be talking about the services. Microsoft team. Lahiru, over to you.
Okay, here we go. So, thanks for joining us, guys. Today I'm going to actually walk you through about how we can enable Azure OpenAI models with Microsoft Teams for your employees. So main focus of this, if you think, right, here my title also there's some magic word, GPT. I think you have heard enough that word already for last 1 year. Always it's about GPT last 4 years. You see, it's everywhere. Recently, Apple announced they are going to connect with OpenAI for GPT. Then there's more Singapore related news. Grab also going to connect with OpenAI. So this is some kind of technology going to transform whole industry going forward. Then I was thinking, okay, maybe it's a hype, somewhere hype. That's what we see. So then when I check some stat, right, what I see is OpenAI say their whole platform weekly users are around 180 million users. But then again I thought oh my god. So but we have 8 billion people in the world. So then it's around 2% of people using GPT. So their weekly active users around 100 million, but these are came from different websites. So I don't have exact numbers, but it's like that. So then I talked to some guys around who are not in the tech community. I asked, hey, I remember someone came to me and said hey, I want to do something. I said, oh, use ChatGPT. Then he said, what? What's ChatGPT? I was like, what are you talking? Because always everything now I'm using GPT basically. If you ask anyone in the tech community, even for writing code, it's nothing. It's just you get the boilerplate, you enhance the code, your work is done within a few minutes. So that's the speed and the power it gives with the GPT model. But somehow, we as a tech community, we know about this thing. But still, out there are some business users, different departments and divisions who has not grabbed this powerful tool yet. So in this today's session, what I'm going to do is I'm just trying to show you a very simple implementation how you can use your own organization channel. In here, I'm demoing Microsoft Teams because most of the organization use MS Teams. But this can applicable for Slack also and email and different channels. I'll later show you how we can do that. Here, I'm going to just integrate pipeline with MS Teams bot with the OpenAI. So anybody can communicate with the OpenAI and have this connection to their own day-to-day activities. Why I am doing this one? Why I cannot enable this whole ChatGPT website in the organization? There's a problem because if you see this is OpenAI documentation. It says like when you use our services for individuals such as ChatGPT or DALL-E, we may use your content to train our models. That's clearly written in their documentation. But there's another one small paragraph say that you can opt out for training. Okay, we can say like, oh, you cannot use my data. But think about like organization level, how we can check everyone opt out themselves from ChatGPT, right? So that's very difficult. But this is this side is more about like Microsoft Azure OpenAI documentation. And here also it says like we don't use content from our business offerings such as GPT and if you say API platform. If you use APIs to access GPT, then they will not use your data. And also in Microsoft Azure, also it says that you are not going to use this one, we are not trading on your data, so it's secure. Why it's easy with Microsoft? Because most of the companies, we already have a signed agreement with Microsoft, right? So then we already signed with the Microsoft, so Microsoft takes care of our data and everything is there. But if we try to go with OpenAI, maybe we have to go with a different process to onboard the company. But thing is, everything moving very fast. So you cannot wait like, okay, we'll wait for another 2 years and we'll bring GPT. At that point of time, another organization will move forward. So it's very critical at this time. If you see all the news, OpenAI normally like every 2 months they release new model, and all other companies also trying to release new models and new way of doing. It's called RAG, it's called COT, it's a new LLM model, VLM model, SLM. Just a lot of jargon within 1 year than we heard last decade. So this is the like a background story. Why we are doing this one through ChatGPT, MSP. I'll show you a demo first. So then you can idea. So this is just like bot. I just say ACG like Azure Community Singapore. So this bot is actually connected to OpenAI model. So right now this model actually connected to GPT-4o, latest model in Azure. So if I say hi, so this clearly goes to OpenAI. Sorry about that one because I have some contesting as well. So if I say hi, it will go to GPT and comes back and give me the results. So let's say like write me a function to conceive Microsoft AI Service, something like that. That's a developer, right? Yeah. Alright, so actually because it's just a glitch in the whole application. I don't. So by the way, because it takes time. and there's a context because I'm trying to show you like later how you actually manage the context for GPT. So that's why. So that's how. But if you see here, right, it's actually very fast. GPT-4 is very fast, honestly. So you try to code for me within few seconds, and it explains me and it's done. And good part is it's in your team. You don't need to go to a different website. We as a developer, there's no we don't need to create another website. We don't need to remember that URL for that website. And think about if you want to do all these things, right? Then you have to handle the markup language. You need to make it table formatting or all this part. Think about it. Microsoft Teams actually handle all this. Let me scroll up. You see this one. These are things I have actually asked before. It's actually create everything for you. But if you try to do in a separate website, maybe you want to handle all this separately. Okay. So this is the application we are going to create. So I'm going to give you like the high-level components how we're going to create, but I'm not going to deep dive into network components or anything. But I'll highlight where it's necessary. So if you follow this path, you basically can create within a few minutes. Not few minutes, maybe 10-15 minutes. You can create the whole application ready. Yeah. So if you see, you already saw the channel. It's Microsoft Teams, and you already know it's coming from Azure OpenAI. But there's something missing here. We just figure out how we're going to connect. So that's what I'm walk you through in this whole session. Here we are basically going to create something called Azure Bot Service to connect with Microsoft Teams and one bot application. So that those are the two things actually coming in this box. But before we start, any prerequisite? Yes, we have. You should have some kind of programming knowledge. Either C Sharp, Java, or Python. Why these three preferred? Because already we have like development libraries available for these three languages. So you don't need to write everything from the scratch. So you can use the libraries and it's up and running in a few minutes. Then, okay, because normal teams, you may not see this one. If you go to this one, there's something called apps. Normally organized enterprise teams, you get some apps here. If you go apps, you see like some for build for your organization, and there's many more apps actually available in this as platform. So you can use any of these apps for your organization, and you can create for one for your organization. So, but as a developer, we can get like developer subscription. They give like Microsoft actually gives developer subscription for Microsoft Teams and Office 365 for 90 days for free. So it creates like 25 users around that organization, and you can start using them. So so if you go to this one, developer.microsoft.com, you can join the Microsoft 365 developer program. So you just click join now. Then it will you can use your email and it will create like 90 days trial. So you can log into MS Teams as like organization. So that's the good part. So then you can actually try this one. Next thing you want is like if you want to try this one in your organization, next thing required is sometimes if you go to manage your apps here, organization may not like enable this function, upload an app to your app catalog. You may see this submit an app to your app, but you will not see this one most of the time. So if it's in the organization, so then you need to ask like your admins, hey guys, we are going to develop this, so enable this function for us. So you have capability of uploading your own application to test. Okay. So these are the two things from Microsoft Teams side. Then what else we need? We need Azure OpenAI. So Azure OpenAI not available for normal users. So it's like the request basis. So you have to ask the send a request. Then Microsoft enable for your subscription. But it's pretty fast normally. Like if you are You cannot personally request for OpenAI service, but as an organization, if you request within 24 hours, normally you get approval, but otherwise it goes 10 business days as per my understanding right now. So this request form is nothing but the normal service form. It looks like this. It's just ask like your first name, last name, how many subscription you want, and this kind of information, and what is your use case about. But mainly, I think if you see this one, application submitted with a personal email with example gmail.com, hotmail, outlook, will be denied. So don't try to say anything in this way. So use your organization and contact Microsoft account manager or someone like then you raise the request. So pretty fast you get the access. And you can just explain your use case and you can go for this account. Okay. So then we have Azure OpenAI Service. Another thing we need is enterprise application list. Because now we are going to connect this application with MS Teams. MS Teams is normally like user based, right? So we need some application registered in our AD. Obviously that tenant. So then we can authenticate and add it to the team. So this is the very first step we need for this whole implementation. We need proper application ID registered in application register. How are we going to do this one? I'll show you now. So you go to Azure, portal. I come from the home actually. So if you see, normally you have something called app registration. This is very quick step. You don't need to wait so long. It's very quick. So you go to app registration, you click new registration. Then you give the name, whatever name you want. Then you can say like, okay, is this account in the organization directory means that's only applicable for your tenant, or you can say like doesn't matter, it's applicable for multi-tenant, or you can say I want to expand this for anyone using MS Teams. That's also possible. So you have to select one of these options. So normally I select this one, and you just click register. That's all. This step is only that. Let me go to one of registered app right now. So this is one of registered app. Here there's two things you need to remember. You need to keep this ID. You need to copy this ID somewhere. Application ID. This is very important ID. This is the main important ID we need to get from this registration. And also, we need one certificate or a secret from this whole deployment. So this is like secret. You can basically go to certificates and secret and click new client secret, and it gives you like the option to create 3 months, 4 months, something like that. You can just, for example, I'll show you this one. I demo, and it is and okay. What happened is it gives you this value, but keep it remember. If you move to a different page, this value is like this. It become mask. Mask actual value. So you cannot get this value anymore. So first time you see this one, you get the value. You paste it somewhere. So these are the two things we need from application registration. Okay. So once we have this one, what we are going to do? So we have the registration. So these are the prerequisites we need. Then we are actually going to create this bot. So for us to create this bot, we need MS Teams client, like the application. But when I say like Microsoft Teams application, it's not like actual application hosted in Microsoft Teams. It's just a placeholder. It just say like, okay, I have developed some application somewhere, and if someone use this application, you redirect to that my actual implementation. This is just like JSON file. Let us show you very small JSON configuration file. That is the one we are uploading to MS. It's not hosting or anything. It's just giving you the direction. Then we need bot handle. It's from Azure side. It's coming as a bot service to make the connection between these two. So application registration we already done, and after that we need one bot application. This bot application and bot handle both are authentication through the app registration. That's why we create the app registration first. Okay, let me take you to the MS Teams client and show you how it works. Okay, so as I said, this application for MS Teams is very simple. One JSON file is there, one logo, 192 by 192 pixel, 32 by 32 pixel. That's the only three files you need for this application. So then you have to zip it and then you can upload. Okay. So this is the JSON file. To see. If you see here, there's two things I want to mention here. There's nothing much. It's just like ID, the version, then the developer who is the developer, and what is the website, privacy URLs, and the icons. So this color and outline is normally default. So I just keep and I rename it according to my UIs as well. There is short name, but make sure this short name only 80 characters, and likewise there are some limits in this configuration. In this whole file, it's only like 39 lines. Most important thing is this one, this ID. And if you see here, there's another bot ID. This is the exactly same application ID we got from app registration. This is not the secret value. This is ID, application ID. So I have to insert this application ID two places. One is under bot ID and the topmost ID also. So you see like this same ID B2D4, B2D4, exactly same ID should be going to this file. So after we have this file, and you see this my package. So as I said, I have this file. I have two icons. What I have to do? Okay, this is one thing I have done when I start this one. So I just go back and I just right click and zip it. So that's not going to work. Okay. So you go inside, you select everything and zip it. Okay. Otherwise you get some issue. So let's say like you zip the file, because of manifest zip or something. So what you have to do is after that, you go to Microsoft Teams, you go to manage apps, you go to upload an app, and you can select upload an app to your. Then you can select this zip file. But one thing will happen. Okay. When you try to upload this one, before you try to create bot handler, it will not allow you to upload this manifest file. Okay. Because what happened when you try to upload, it try to take your ID and try to communicate with bot handler and try to authenticate you. You are like valid bot in this tenant. So this will fail normally. Okay. Then we'll keep it ready in the manifest zip file. Then we'll move to bot handler. Okay. So yeah, we have the zip ready. Now we are actually going to Azure Bot Service. So one thing to remember is a global resource. So name should be unique. Let's say like you have like a bot ABC and you just your low environment is working fine, but there's something mixed up with the production or something. You have to redeploy everything. So make sure this name is unique to your organization and the naming perspective. Then Microsoft developed Bot Framework. There's a SDK for development. So they have like version 4 right now. And they are providing for you to test this one even without Microsoft Teams. They call it like bot emulator. You can use the bot emulator to test the connection with bot. So this bot framework, I think bot framework, I guess around 8-9 years old, because as I remember it came around 2016 something. So at that time we have the bot and we call it like intents, and then we use Louis to natural understanding, those kind of things. So it's, yeah, it just came around that time. But now good part is like we can still use this technology to connect with OpenAI, which is more advanced in the natural language understanding. So that's the good part. Uh, yeah. So let me take you to the Azure page. So to find out where we can get this. Okay. Before that, so if you see like this is the bot framework. So you can just search in the Bing. Okay, so then Microsoft bot framework sticky will come. So you can have like more detail about bot framework. So they are supporting JavaScript, Python, and C#. They supported Java, but they are not no longer actually they are supporting. It's going to retire very soon. Okay, so then in this demo, I'm going to show you like JavaScript application. So I'm going to use npm and bot builder package. But later I'll come to that one. Before that, I'll go to bot service. So if you see, like it's just a like normal service, like name is bot service. So you go to bot service, then you go create. Okay, here this is a bit strange because I couldn't find any search here. So for you to get the bot service, you have to go till n actually. So let me load that one. Okay, this is the last one. You see, Azure Bot comes here. So you will not find that it at the first place, it's at the last actually. So you have like two offering, Azure Bot and Azure Health Bot. So you just click this one, give the location, give the resource group, and it will create the resource for you. So I'll show you like one resource I already created. So this is the ACG community bot panel. So here, what we are going to do is under settings, once you create, this looks like this. It's nothing but it's normal resource here. You go to bot profile. Basically, you can add your like icon. You can use the same icon. You can have some display name and description, those kind of information. But main part is this configuration. Okay. If you see here, yeah, one thing I couldn't note here. So when you create this bot, actually it asks, do you have app registration? So that's why you create app registration. Without valid app registration, you cannot create the bot handle. So you use app registration ID, the same ID you use in the manifest file, and give it to them, and it creates the bot for you. So that's why you see like I cannot select or change it anymore. This is create on top of that app registration ID. You cannot change it after you create. One thing is this message endpoint. As I said, this bot service is kind of like adapter, okay? And Microsoft Teams is kind of like placeholder for your application. But there should be a place actually where we implement our business logic and where we run our code and everything, right? So this message endpoint is actually redirecting to our application where we host our application. Later I'll show you. I just host one website there under research for Azure website or not. So I'll go to that one. But what it tell you is, if I get some message from MS Teams, pass it back to this URL. Then that application in that URL will handle all these messages for you. Okay. And good part is, as I said you earlier, this is not only for teams. If you go to this channel, this is a very good part because you create one and you can deploy it to a lot of channels. If you go here, I already create for Microsoft Teams, but if you go down, it's available for Alexa, Facebook, Line, Omni, Slack, Telegram, video, all these. It's just like one click. If you have the all required authentication from those applications, with just one click you add those authentication, and you will connect your same app in those channels also. So it's much easier. You don't need to worry about other channels. And other part is like if you want, let's say like you want this same thing instead of Teams, you want to implement the same thing in another website. It gives you a endpoint also. You can use that endpoint to develop your application separately in a different website or different platform. So they call it like direct line API. Implement the name. That is the name for that endpoint. So if you try to search for documentation, it normally comes to direct line API. Yeah, and also like they do like web chat kind of embedding portal like this, so you can test also like you say hi, then it gives you some response, something like that. Pricing wise, it's like actually $0 kind of, unless you are using a direct line and the web. It's like a like 0. Other one is like is 0.5 is when you are using direct line, and the other web embedded method. So yeah, that is all about like Azure Bot Handler. So if you remember, we use application ID in the MS Teams manifest, number 1. We use application ID in the Bot Handler, number 2. But we haven't used that secret value we created. Okay, let's jump into like where we actually using this secret value. But again, once you deploy this one, you can upload that manifest to MS Teams because it can authenticate now with this ID and everything, so that there will be no issue. You can just upload. So when you upload, what happens is just so just it just comes like this. It starts like it just show you like short name and those kind of information, and it starts like there's a button say like add. Once you add, actually it directly goes to chat messages, and it comes here. So you can pin it and you can start using. So in the enterprise level, basically you can ask like Microsoft Teams admin to push this application to the whole organization. So you don't need to ask them to download anything, but organization can push this. Okay. Yeah. So again, but you may wonder like how it actually works, but still like there's more deep dive to this one, but I'll try to explain simply. So what happens is, in MS Teams, when you message something, it goes to backend, Microsoft Teams services. You don't see that one, but it goes to the backend servers, and then it has like Azure Bot Service also behind the scene, and it communicates the app registration and authenticate, and it comes to bot handle. Okay, then it pick up that message endpoint, your URL. Okay, it picks up your URL, and it brings that here, and then they redirect your messages to your application returning to them. Okay, all these others are just kind of placeholders. So they pick up whatever the necessary information, and from here to here, actually they push your whole message to this one. When message comes to here, you already know from which tenant this message coming, who is sending this message, what is their IDs, what is their names, and what is the text they are sending. All this information you know, so you can process it, and you can do whatever business logic with that message, and you can send the reply back. So it will go and pick the user's site. Okay. So now, what application? So right now I'm going to show you like JavaScript application, very small one. But they are normally give us with the C#, JavaScript, and Python. Like this available. So JavaScript, that's what I showed you like NPM library called Bot Builder. So that library you can download. Another good thing I want to mention on this one. So if you see here, you can only send message from MS Teams to this bot, like one way, right? But this bot builder package has capability of bot can send a message back to user without user initiating the message. So something like you can send from bot, like morning, hey guys, good morning, welcome to organization, something like that. So without user asking any question or anything, bot can send the message. That capability also they are in this bot builder package. Okay. Okay, now just hold for this one. Let me go to the code. Okay. So this is the code. Uh, There's nothing much. It's just like Bot Builder is a kind of latest package right now. We have 4.22.2. So all others actually we don't need show OpenAI is like for me to connect to OpenAI, but all others are just normal packages. Uh, yeah, but let me take you to this page. So this is like Node.js Express application. So it's like web API. It has only one post method. API slash messages. This is the recommendation. So this is the like your base URL plus slash API slash message. This is the same URL goes to bot handler message input. So then that message actually read to it. Here you are not going to do it much. You see like one line. We need they call it cloud adapter. Earlier it's a different name actually, bot adapter or something, but recently they changed it to cloud adapter. So this is the latest one we have used. So if I go to adapter, what adapter does is like, because this is not only communicating with MS Teams, it can communicate with channels like Slack, Outlook, and everything, right? So all these platform process messages in different ways, different objects. Somehow we need to bring all this to one format which we can handle at the backend. So that's why this adapter, it's authenticate, it do all the necessary steps before it sends the messages to your application or your business logic. So that's why we need the cloud adapter. So I just simply name this one as adapter. So if you see, this cloud adapter actually coming from this adapter file here. So I'll take you to the adapter file. It's nothing but it's coming from bot builder, and it takes cloud adapter, configuration service client credential. So it's basically for authenticate. And this one I'll come later. So this is our actual implementation of our bot. How we going to handle our message and everything is this one I will take you later. So this cloud adapter, what happens is it just authenticate. Now if you see here, bot ID is the exactly same application ID. Only another one, bot password. This is the exactly same secret value I get from that administration. So we are using this secret value in actually in our application, not anywhere else. So we need it to authenticate and get this adapter connected to other components in this whole ecosystem. So that is where you use value, secret value. So you process this bot ID and the bot password and the cloud adapter, and adapter is ready. So, and here there's one message. Say like if anything happen in this bot, it actually trigger this on turn error function, and it just send this error message. But you can customize this. If you want to actually send error message, you can say, or otherwise you can send something. Oh, sorry, there's something happened, something like that. But this is where like centralized they handle the error message if you want to handle. Then if you see, it's very simple function, adapter.process, and I am passing the full request and response and something called turn context. Okay, turn context is everywhere in the documentation you will see like turn context. Then the first time also I'm also confused like what is the turn context? Why they are not telling like context? to understand this is the context of this message. But their interpretation basically is like turn context means like you already have the message, you turn it and you send the context back. So that's why it's turn context. So you are actually editing the turn context. You are not actually editing or like applying logic to the context. You are actually editing all this logic to the turn context. The message you are actually sending back to user. So that's why it's turn context. Don't get confused because I was so confused first when try this one. So again, if I go to index, this is the entry point for our message. It goes to cloud adapter and the process. And if I go to adapter page, it goes to this process. And that process actually go to adapter.process and it sends the request and response. Here I am not changing anything at all. The same request coming, same response I want to say, I just push that two parameters into the next function. So it's actually what happened. It goes to this Azure Community Group bot.plot. This is the bot I created. This is my bot logic. So this run is not there in my bot logic, but this is default. Okay. So you cannot find this run in my bot logic. Later I'll show you. But this is default. So you have to pass this context to this run. Okay. So now let's go to bot. This is my bot class. It's very simple. Okay. It has some OpenAI service because later I want to connect to OpenAI, and I have two components from the bot builder class: turn context and activity handle. So activity handler actually is a like super class. So you can create some inherit from that one and create your own bot. What is important in this whole class is nothing but this function, this on message. This is the function we are getting the message. Okay. We should have these two parameters, turn context. I think you remember turn context is like whatever we are setting that. And the next is I am waiting for your next message. This is like function, so I am waiting for your next message after I do something. So these two turn context and the next is important. Then inside turn context we have something called activity object. This activity object has everything you need. You have the user's ID, you have the user name, you have the user message, you have the conversation ID, you have the tenant ID, and all this necessary information you want to process. One thing to note, like because if you remember, like when I say like multi-tenant. If I select multi-tenant, think about if someone find out your manifest package and they can bring it to their organization and install it into their teams because it's multi-tenant. So when you do this multi-tenant setup, make sure you validate the tenant ID. If it's not from your tenant, just reject the request. There's some so you need to make sure if it's multi-tenant, but if it's single tenant, it's full okay. But multi-tenant, because that's basically means like you can communicate with different tenants. So I haven't written that logic, but I think you guys can easily like that one. It's just like checking the string against the actual tenant ID. Tenant ID you can find in the application registration. There's some parameter there in the overview page, tenant ID, so you can get it from there. So the text is actually coming from this activity. Activity there's a like, parameter for text, and this turn context remove recipient mention means like sometimes you put like at and some person name and some text. So it will remove these things. Okay. So then that's all. That's all. After from here to here, this I am just talking to OpenAI. Okay. So I talk to OpenAI, I send the message, I get the response back. Then this is the main important one. Turn context dot send activity. This is the activity or the message I am sending you back. So I am put that completion or the message I am receiving from OpenAI to this send activity, and then push back to the user. So you receive the response, and then I await for the next message. So this is exactly how many lines? It's like around 14 lines. I mean, like it's less than that. So basically, you have to implement this function only. This function only. get the text message from user, and then you pass it to OpenAI, and you can do any if your organization requires you to like check the text message, it's like risk related things and everything. You can have all your business logic in between and then send to OpenAI. So last part, uh, now you see like detailed micro things are Azure Bot Service is running. Our application is running on the app service. This app service is normally hosting service where you can push your JavaScript code to in Azure. Last part is Azure OpenAI Service. So Azure OpenAI Service, as I mentioned earlier, you have to raise the request, otherwise it's not available in your subscription. And right now it's actually providing you all the models like till GPT-4o. But in Singapore we don't have a region. So nearest regions are either like Japanese, Australia, East Coast, India, the South India. That's it. So those are like very nearest regions we can have GPT models at the moment. But it goes from GPT 3.5 Turbo to GPT 4.0, huge range of OpenAI service. So yeah, let me show you OpenAI service. OpenAI service you don't have to do much because it's just to deploy the model and you get endpoint. So it's a very easy service. If you go to OpenAI service here, I already created 3, but it's very easy to create also. You just click create. Then you give just a name and the resource group and the region and the pricing. These are standard normally. Likewise you give. Then it asks like network is like whether because this service you can make it private endpoint. You don't need to be like a full public. You can make it private, so that's why network. Then tags and you can just create. I'll go to like one of created service here. So this is like Australia East service. So if you go here, model, you deploy models from here. You go to model deployments. Then when you click this one, actually it opens AI Studio in a different tab. So I click it different tab because otherwise it's try to load it the same thing. It will load. So here, this is where you can find the keys and endpoints basically for this service. You see like the keys and what is the endpoint. This is your endpoint, and you have to follow exactly same REST API endpoints documented in the Azure OpenAI page. Then key you can use, and the networking, as I said, like you can make it private endpoint. So the whole communication goes privately, not the public internet. So you can do that one also. Okay, so this is how it looks like. It's reloading. Okay, so if you see here, you can just create new deployment. You can select all the available models. So I select GPT-4o, so you can just click that one. Depends on the quota, it will say whether it's available or not. Then you can select what is the model version you want, and it's like the provision or like standard. And the deployment. The deployment name is very important because this is the name we are going to use in our REST API endpoint. They always ask what is the deployment name. It's not the model name. Model name is GPT-4o, but you can have different deployment name. GPT-4o, whatever ABC. That is the name actually go to REST endpoint. And then you can like basically create the token limits. Right now I think GPT-4,000 token or something per minute, 100K or something. I don't know. I think what I saw is like more than 200K So, and also one thing is like they provide you content filtering here. That means that if you want to, have some kind of customized, like you want to stop hateful messages, harmful messages, it's all already available in the service. Also, you can just configure like your custom content filter. You see, you can say like I don't like hate speech at all. So if anything hate speech comes into my message, reject that, something like that. For prompt and completion, both you can do that. So this is how it looks like OpenAI service, and you can basically deploy, and you see like deployment name here. And after that, you have your REST API endpoint and everything, and then you create that one in this. Uh, Create that one is embedded URL in this OpenAI service, and you pass the message. So it's nothing but like just take the endpoint, just take the key and the deployment ID, and I'm using like exactly the same OpenAI client from Azure OpenAI. So it's much easier. You give the endpoint and you just call this function, get check completion, you receive the message, and you send it back. Okay, so this is the full implementation from end to end, from Microsoft Teams, you message, then it goes to bot handler, and OpenAI get the message, process it, and send it back. So if I recap the whole thing, we have Microsoft Teams application. We need to register the application. That is the first thing you should do. From application registration, you should get application ID and the secret value. Those are the two things you have to get. Then you go to the bot service, bot handler. You use application ID to create the bot handler, and then you wait. You are not entering that message endpoint because you have to create another application for that one. Then you open the channels through Microsoft Teams. Then you create your bot application. You host it somewhere. Then you update the message endpoint in bot handler. Then at the end, you just create a model in Azure OpenAI, and then connect your application with Azure OpenAI. So this is where you create at the end this application. You say hi, it goes to this bot handler, it goes to bot application, then it goes to OpenAI, get the response, and come to the same pipeline and send you the message. But I don't have time for you to show the context. So I stop here because context is also a big message. So model is not, storing your messages. It's like stateless model. So if you want to keep the conversation in like continuous loop, then we have to store this message separately and send it to. But cover if you have another chance in the different session. So yeah. So yeah, is there any questions? Yep.
Maybe it would be good to understand what would be the use cases for an implementation like this, because I could go and use Copilot within Teams. Obviously, it can do a lot of things Teams related. So going outside, talking to OpenAI and bringing information back, what would be some of the use cases that an organization would need?
Yeah, because when we start first with this GPT, right, there wasn't Copilot at that time. So then the organization looking for how they can implement this kind of thing. And the best part is like we can interpret the message, and also going forward we can bring our own data. Copilot also does the same thing, but again, like if you need more control over your data and everything what you do, then you can have that approach in this Teams. So that's the main part. And also like before you bring the Copilot and everything, right? If you want to bring this technology to the users, all the users, this is very quick implementation. Because bringing the Copilot and everything takes some time with the agreements and everything, right? And but technology is moving very fast. So this is one best way you can bring all the employees into this tech stack. as soon as possible, so they can discover different approaches, different use cases by using this. So that's what I see. Say other question.
Question regarding the translation. So is it possible to use the translation function in other regions?
Yes.
Because for the online.
So my question entails translation. For example, let's say in Poland, how do you use the translation function if they're using Polish? Is it possible to go?
In GPT, you don't need any like separate translation. It supports translation. But if you change your prompt, translate this to this, let's say like Chinese or something, it will translate for you. It's more capable of like without like doing anything.
But if they use a language and speaking, does it understand? For example,
Yeah.
we understand.
Most of the languages you understand, or like main languages. It can translate. It can even like without English, you can communicate with that language. It will respond.
Hi. So can we use this for images, videos, and presentations?
Yes, I mean like not this way, but exactly same way you can create add-ins inside the Word, PowerPoint, and Excel. But approach is bit different, but still it's possible. There's a like add-in platform for all these PowerPoint Office packages. Okay, so thanks guys for listening.
Thank you very much. And yeah, we are done with the first session. Now second session will be started. We have meeting with us. He is Microsoft MVP for .NET, and he would be talking about getting started with .NET and MAUI. Sorry, I'm not a .NET guy, so pardon me. Okay, PT over to you.
Thank you, Mira. Okay, I'm Kyung from, I'm not working in Microsoft. I'm working near Bugis, the Mountain Center there, okay. It's not much an issue, okay. Q&A. Okay, let's start with but before that, I have to tell you that Microsoft Visual Studio end of August, yeah. For Mac only, it's not Windows. Okay. Then, okay, let me introduce about the NET multi-platform app UIs. And most mainly it start from the submarine, because submarine is a very successful, so it support okay, it's about Windows, Mac OS, iOS, and Android. But the key feature is you use a single programming language, C#. Then you build on the .NET 6. And it's the successor to Xamarin Core, but it offers a significant improvement in performance, code localization, and ease of development. Then it's time for the last build, 2024. It's a build the .NET Aspire is not a widely recognized term within the .NET community for official Microsoft documentation. But don't worry, we already have documentation. Then after that, however, I can provide you a hypothetical application and condition based on common terms in .NET development and a similar initiative. First, initiative aimed at leveraging .NET modernization, innovation, and efficiency. The goal is modernization, developer empowerment, cost efficiency, and community collaboration. The key feature is unified code base developed for multi-platform with single code base. That's why we say programming language is C#. enhanced performance built for scratch from optimal performance, seamless integration, work with Visual Studio IDE, visual performance and integration chart. For the innovation and modernization, .NET MAUI is modernized cross-platform app development. And for .NET Aspire, is see innovative solution. It emphasizes the adoption of innovative technology to drive efficiency modernization in software development. Second, development empowerment. .NET multi-platform app UI is simplified development with a single language programming C#. .NET Aspire focus on empowering developers. However, came to cost efficiency is save the time of the learning and reduce the development time and cost. For example, the UI the front-end engineer focus on is always get the one to find the API. It's a challenging. Okay, I need to go to other documentation. I also need a second to find the UI in the and for the .NET Aspire is leveraging the best technology and practice in .NET ecosystem. However, for the community and collaboration, for .NET MAUI is open source and community driven, and for .NET Aspire promote community engagement more close to the developers. However, for the integrations, the .NET MAUI works similarly with Azure, Visual Studio, and App Center. And the ecosystem .NET Aspire leverage the broadest that .NET ecosystem for robust development. Let's have your demo. Today because I use the IP is a fixed one. I will show you the video first. You can see that it came with a dashboard and the contact. Then after that, you can see the telemetry of information and in the Aspire application. Then you can trace every log of your application. You also, for example, RabbitMQ service. After that is a .NET import. Then you can keep an update also. You don't worry about you can trace why your application is get bad or anything. Then it's easier for deployment also. For more varieties, you can go to this website, Aspire GA, General Environment Work. And in conclusion, the .NET MAUI supported and enhancement the .NET Aspire initiative by driving innovation, empowering developers, and promoting cost efficiency. For more on the demo, please go to YouTube or my YouTube. channels you can send me in Gongxia. Then I will do the demo step by step. And thank you for your time. And I know you have Monday is a public holiday. Thanks for coming for these sessions. And if you have any questions, have any questions?
So with the MAUI, so how many, does any major application have been developed process? Is there any example of how it's supposed to use?
You mean the example app?
Yeah.
The was it the one I saw is the like e-commerce app. For example, purchasing. You can through the daily, you can run the local, see the how the one of your web application.
So developing MAUI and just using the Swift test, is there any performance differences?
Yes, but it's a different performances. What is for the aspire is more on to for easier developers to see the to easier like you don't need to go through a lot of circles and go through the API. It provide an API you automatically have a dashboard already. You just go to trace then after select the API